Hello, I think I've improved it. Right. Um, Stream's current bitrate is 20,000. Recommend 6,800. Alright, that's a bit high. Not really much I can do about it though now we're actually on. Just sec. Hopefully I said that right. Is there any speed increase on UE 5.6? Um, Not so much that I've noticed, but it does work pretty damn well. I haven't really had any issues so far. Um, but I'm still kind of just making my way through it and then just playing around with what I've got. Like I have converted the GDXR template over to 5.6, which was basically just duplicate the project and open it up, and everything's been absolutely fine. I haven't really done a build of this project to the Quest yet, which we could probably do with setting up and going through to see. But overall, there's nothing standing out that would say it's worse, other than the lack of plugins available to it. So right now, I'm just relying on OpenXR to handle everything. So we're not using anything like the MetaXR plugin or anything like that. It's just basic coding stuff. So it's not too bad. Um, Chico 5.6. I find it doesn't crash compiling shaders now on first boot. I've never had it crash on compiling shaders, but I did have an issue with trying to send an array through another variable to another blueprint yesterday, which was a bit of a pain. Apparently, Unreal hasn't been able to do that since 4.3 or something. I think I found in the forums, but I fixed that. Um, Chipko, hello. It's good to see you, man. It feels like it's been a while since I've done a live stream. It's been absolutely mental. In less than 5.6, it would get so far compiling shaders and then failed. Thankfully, it would pick up where it left off at least. Okay, that might be a hardware limitation. It might be something to do with your computer rather than the engine. Normally, if it gets to like 45% on the compiling shaders, then you would get a crash. It's probably down to project settings or the computer itself. Might just not have enough RAM to get through it all. Okay, I need to set up stereo render layers for my main menu and redo it. Widget. Joel, yo, Jocelyn, glad you're doing good. I like the room setup. Thank you. Joel, I'm pretty sure I've got an email from you or a couple of messages through Patreon, which I have seen. I just haven't had a chance to get back to you yet because, in all honesty, I have spent from 9 o'clock this morning till 1 o'clock in meetings, and my brain is absolutely fucked. Like, it's just fried to go and do admin stuff right now. So I'll get back to you first thing in the morning. But it sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool. I'm happy to have a chat about it. Pretty sure it is you that emailed anyway, or message through Patreon. But it sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. I imagine there'll be some other people popping in being like, I've emailed you, you haven't got back to me yet. And I'm like, I know. I know, I haven't stopped. It's like just bear with me. Paste. You is not the one that I want. I want to make this look a little bit different. So where's my hand menu? Because I've already done this. I'm gonna do this, and then people are gonna be like, "How did you do it?" I'll be like, "Ha ha." Cool. Shit. And menu. You are what you want. I want you. Menu master. Paste. Delete. I need to do a click on an image to transform, delete translation, delete rotation, because if I don't do that, the animation goes to the top left and plays in there. We don't need that, we just need scale. I'm going to do this and everyone's going to be like, what is happening? Right, we want that to be 0.25, which should be fine. And then it was 1, 2.5 and 0.5. And then for there, I want this to be 1. But I remember to hit enter, otherwise it doesn't work. So now I've got a little click animation. I can go to the event graph and I can copy and paste this in from my other graph because I've already got it. So I'm going to take you and let's just take this lot and this lot. Make sure that my main menu master has the correct implemented interface, which is UMG updates, I think. Yep. And then I can paste that in. So we can do this image. I can replace that reference. I should have really had a default UMG class, which I should have really planned out a lot earlier, but didn't think of that. So kind of going from where we are now, animations, click animation, enter there. I don't have a stereo render layer set up for the main menu, although the animations might be a little bit screwed from what I was playing with. I also know that I'm just rambling, but hopefully it helps. Now if we jump in, make it fade in. I've now got a cursor that is built into the UMG directly, and when I press the trigger, I can do my little pointing, which is super cool. Start my new game. I need to make this white so I can actually see it against the backdrop. I've got my fun little... Where is it? Ooh. Why can't I move that? Oh, it might be the scale. So I can change my hand colors. I need to fix a double click issue on that button. And then we load in screen space, and then this is the first level, so my controllers don't load. And then I've got my first fade, my second fade, then a third fade, and then I'm going to have a character sat at the piano, and then we load in, and then I've got my hand colors, which I selected in the main menu, my little character customization. I've got a hand menu, which you guys cannot see because it is not rendered in the main pass, and I'm using stereo render layers, which make it look so much better. So that's cool. I need to sort out the main menu. So we're going to be working on the main menu a little bit today. But I'll try and make sure that you guys can see it all. And then hopefully do a build in a little bit to the quest. And then I can check whether it's all working on there as well. Missed chat. It's been so long since I did a stream, I forgot to keep checking the chat. Oh, you're good at the room setup. Thank you. I think it's more. I think the room setup looks better because I've got the camera. Got a better camera now. Chip Cool, I do need to upgrade my membership to get on the early released stuff you're doing. Is there a minimum member level? On YouTube, there is no minimum member. It's the lowest tier. I think it's a $5 gets access to all the lower videos, and then through Patreon, it's the £5 tier as well. So there's like a £3 tier, which is like just get your name at the end of videos, and then the £5 one gets you everything else. So anything above that should be sorted. Joel, that's totally fine. I get it. Yeah, that was me. It's pretty late here, so I need to get bed. But look forward to your feedback. Cool. I'll definitely get back to you tomorrow. Zyro, hey brother, are you open to being brought onto assistance on development related work? Yes, it depends what it is. I'm pretty crammed on time at the minute. I think everyone's just been like, need your help. So it's been absolutely hectic. For example, I've got a contract with Amazon that I do 2 days a week. So that's already 2 days out of my week that I can't really do anything. And then I've been doing work for another studio called Make Clear Studio, which we recently sorted out a couple of weeks back to get set up and sorted. So it's been a pretty crazy couple of months, to be fair. But I haven't thought of making a default UI either. Yeah, it's the only reason I need a default UI class is because I've started adding a cursor which is built into it. You can see it here, like showing up on the top left. Because it's built into the UI, that's where it becomes an issue. It's like if I had that as a base class to build everything else off, it would be a little bit better. But yeah, I don't really have that, but it's fine. It just means I got to redo it every now and again. But I shouldn't have that many UI elements. And plus, this logic is super simple to add in. Ryan, may I ask what you're working on? I'm working on my own game. So I've been building the GDXR template for, I think, 3 years now. And the goal was to always use it to build my own game. And I feel like now it's at a point where I can comfortably do that, especially with the updates that I made in the 5.5 build. So the idea is that slowly, I might not stream all the time, but work on my own game and build something for the quest. And kind of just go that way. So sci-fi, horror, like that kind of thing. I don't want to compare it to Half-Life, Alex, but it's probably going to be linear storyline like that. no over-the-top stuff. But I'm still working on the whole story side of things. But time travel and a bunch of other stuff. I think it'd be pretty cool. Just gotta get the time to do it. D3. Is GDXR better on 5.5 over 5.4? Notice some small changes with the belt inventory mechanics, like the grab mag instead of my gun sometimes, and crouching sometimes launches me under the map. D3, so the 5.5 build compared to 5.4 is dramatically different. For example, it used to have only one character, a character controller, and then that was how it handled everything in 5.4 and lower. In the 5.5 build, I basically modified everything in the player, so you actually have the ability to use different character controllers, and then inside of the character, so I go to blueprints, we now have character controllers folder. We've then got a motion controllers and hands, which basically has a master class, and then it has child classes based on that for performance. So it's kind of everything that's generally needed between motion controllers and hands exists in the master, and then it loads it in. So it's a lot smaller in size than having everything in there. And then I've done the same thing for the characters. So you can have as many characters as you want now. You can duplicate those out, and then you can tell them, so from the base character, you can actually tell it in class defaults which hands and stuff to load in. So you can do a whole bunch of different things with it now. It looks more complex and it reads a little bit more complex, like we're spawning in controllers separately. But the difference is we can actually track what parent class owns what spawned in controller. So for example, in this case, we spawn our player character, and in turn that spawns the hands that we've told it to spawn in. And because we've set an owner and an instigator, it means now if we destroy this base class, character class, it will then destroy the hands automatically. So instead of having the hands and motion controllers inside of the base character, which was just kind of cluttering the whole thing up, they're now separate. It does feel like it's a bit more cumbersome and a bit more complex in its like build, but honestly, it's been so much easier. For example, in my project here, I've got a VR base. I've got the main, so default pawn class BP VR base main, which in reality should be. I've got a splash screen which doesn't have inputs on, and then might have just kept it this one actually. Base main. Which one are you? Oh, it's because I put it in my folder, me main menu. So you can see I've got a dedicated character for my main menu, and then when I open up my actual player level, it's then got another one, and this has its own character controller as well. So it's a lot more modular. You don't have to use the same character for each thing, but the character controller can work with other characters and other players. So, for example, when I start my main level, which is going to be level 1, that has that like alien intro where it like fades out and it goes around the ship. If I open that up, I also need to rename that file persistent. We'll see that this changes to a different game mode, which then has a different VR character and a different character class, which is set up into it. And this default pawn class has actually I've modified it so it doesn't load our hands by default. It actually gets an actor which begins the cutscene, and once that cutscene's done, I can't remember where I put the cutscene. Ignore the code; it's really bad. At the end of it, once we become the player, it actually tells it through an interface to update the show hands, and then adds the gameplay tags we need to then go through. So even though we've split it, we've got more control over it, and we also don't have to have references to the player. So if I go to size map, you can see that this is like 1.3 megabytes, and it's mainly because it's referencing the VR game instance. So it's a lot. I was going to say it's a lot easier to use, but if you don't know about master classes and parents, it can be a little bit more confusing. So I hope that rambling made sense in some form. But there is a big difference between 5.4 version of the GDXR template and 5.5, but the 5.5 is now in the right direction that you can use it for multiple different things. But yeah. Quite a That's real good to build own games again. Yeah. So the idea is to use a template, and I've also learned a couple of things that are wrong with the template. So, for example, I built the template with a hand menu where it was casting to a specific player, and when I went to create it in a new level, it turns out it wouldn't cast to the correct player, so it was causing issues with the hand menu. So I've got that to fix. So by using the GDXR template to build my own game, it's made it a lot easier for me to figure out what's wrong with the template and what I need to do to fix it for everybody else. To just save that little bit of time, really, which is quite nice. Ryan, sounds interesting. Thank you. It's not Half-Life Alex, it's the GDXR Life Alex. I don't have the physics hands, that's it. But yeah, I need to try and sort something out for it. There's like I ran a performance test on Quest 3 with about 100 empty actors without code in Blueprint. Performance began to decline. Do you think it would be similar in C++? Um, I don't know because that doesn't really sound like a very big test. To be fair, just throwing actors into a level and then letting them run isn't really a test in itself. You're going to want to do some proper profiling to check what's going on with it. Um, because each one of those, depending on what's in them, could be running their event tick, but it could also be related. It could be related to either draw calls for what's on the model or in the blueprint. It's kind of hard to tell. It's not really a fair case, to be fair. Beautiful. I'll be updating to 5.5 today. Cool. Like it is. You will need to know how to follow stuff around. So if you are changing to 5.5, make sure to use something like the reference viewer. So you can then go in there and track what's using different blueprints, and that should help you get an idea about it. I've tried to make it as simple as possible to understand, but it's still one of those cases where it's like I understand it because I built it. I'm not too sure if everybody else understands it. So if there is any questions and they're like messed up on anything like that, make sure to head over to the Discord channel and the GDXR section, and then I should be able to help you out as well. I'm trying to get back on track to keep up with everything and get back to everybody as fast as I can. It's just been a crazy couple of months. Oh, Valdigan, good morning and afternoon all. Good morning and afternoon. It's afternoon here. It's almost 3. Johnny, hello. What is the game about? Right now, it's more like I've got my document. I don't know if I want to. I was about to say share it, and then it goes straight up on the screen. Think like a combination between Alien, the Xbox game Area 51, if you remember that from like 20 years ago, and then a bit of like Half-Life Alex kind of thrown in there. So it's going to be like a single player narrative story driven game based on like heavy sci-fi, some hopefully cool twists and some cool monsters if I can get that far, which will be quite nice. Cool. I need to sort out my main menu. G maps. Game. I'm also trying to decide whether I have it so it's fully seamless or if I just have load screens in between different sections, which would make it a lot easier for me since it's only like I'm only one guy. Stereo layer. 80 widgets. This is 1920 by 1080, I think. Halira. Hello, what would you say is the most stable engine version for mobile VR? I've heard different opinions. Um, Probably 5.5 if you want access to MetaXR plugins and MetaXR interaction toolkit, that sort of thing, because they're not available for 5.6 yet. I don't think anyway. Last time I checked, which was like 3 days ago. So 5.5 will be the most stable, but it's also going to come down to a lot of your code. Like people, right? So the thing is, when it comes every time Epic release a new version of Unreal, everyone's like the performance is shit and it's not working. The problem, 70 to 80% of the time, is actually people's code, not the engine. Yes, the engine has a bunch of problems, but when they refer to performance issues, it's normally in relation to Lumen and Nanite, which is being used on deferred rendering. If you're doing mobile VR, the whole engine switches over to forward shading, which is typically way better for performance anyway. So if people are complaining online about performance being crap, you need to find out whether they're referring to Lumen or specifically mobile. Like normally it's absolutely fine. Like every version after 5.4, no, 5 point like 5.2, 5.3, it's been absolutely fine. Anytime people complained about performance issues with the GDXR template, it was down to my shitty code. Like I implemented something that was just causing an instance like issue or draw calls. So it's like don't really worry about what other people are saying. Jump in and see for yourself like what's working and what isn't. Because the amount of times I see people being like, "Oh, performance is terrible," but they've put a metahuman into the engine with Lumen and Nanite on max render settings, and then like 4K textures with hair sims, and they're like, "Oh, it runs like shit," and you're like, "Of course it does. Of course it does." Yeah. Okay. Rant over. Sorry about that. Basically, try it out for yourself and see what works. Crofty, how long have you been in the industry? I've been, oh Christ, about 8 years now. So after uni, I went and worked for a small studio, and then I've been, which I did for I think 2 years, and then after that I went self-employed, and then set up GDXR, and I've been doing freelance ever since. But in the meantime, I've had contracts with quite large companies. So I've done projects for Microsoft. Currently on a contract with Amazon, where I build e-learning sims for them through AWS. Um, Recent projects for another client in a medical field. So a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I've actually got that. I can actually show that one on here. Let me find it. So this one here is the one that I've worked on the last couple of weeks, which is really cool. So this one ended up in France at the Euro something. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was a 30-minute long or 29-minute long 360 video VR experience with interactions based on coronary arteries. So I worked with them, the team on that, and acted as the Unreal lead. So it was really cool. I'm going to be doing some more work with them soon, hopefully, which is quite nice. Yeah, done a bunch of stuff, which is why I've been so busy lately. How good with aliens? Good idea. I'll be attentive. See, one of the aliens, right? Hoping this is the bit that hooks people. I want a dead body that's lying on the wall. Everybody's sick of like face huggers and shit. So I want it so like there's a dead body on the floor, half the skull's missing, and then as you walk past it in VR, you think, oh, there's nothing wrong with it, and then you hear something, so you turn around and you look at it, and then as you do, you see the brain like grow legs and kind of like crawl out. Like that's the sort of thing I want to go for. I think it'd be really cool. Make something like proper scary. Crofty, oh damn, looks cool. Thank you. I always forget what I was titled as on that. Let me check the credit screen again. There we go. Credited as Unreal Supervisor, which is super fun. There we go. Unreal Supervisor for it, which is really nice. It was a really good project to work on. There's another guy, Ben, who was responsible for a lot of the main work, which is super cool. But I was brought on to do some of the heavy lifting. Looks cool. Chico, I'll upgrade my membership. I noticed it's cheaper on Patreon, so I need to fix my payment method. But it'd be good to support you and learn too. Awesome, thank you. I've got a bunch of videos coming out for mixed reality stuff at the minute. I've got like 7 or 8 parts already recorded. So they'll be slowly coming out over the next couple of weeks on using the MetaXR plugin with the Meta Interaction Toolkit. And the idea is that I can slowly start building a game with that. So as we go through it, I do release each part, trying to do a standalone video. But if you follow through from start to finish, that it becomes a game. That's the idea of what I'm working on at the minute. But I spent the last 4 hours in meetings, so I was like, I want to do something fun this morning. We're in the main menu. Event, begin play, stereo layer. Put you in there. Live video 920 by 1080 quad world locked. And then bring that forward slightly. Widget. You guys aren't going to be able to see the main menu anymore, but give us a second. I'm just doing it so I can test that it's working. Should be able to drop in. Nope. You guys can't see it, neither can I. Me. Did what? Did not do the right thing. Hey, why are you not working? Have I got it the wrong way around? Let me have a look. No. That should be fine. Let's remember 1080 quad locked. Event tick stereo layer. Widget. I don't know why I've got some of these that are start with tick disabled, so I think that's the part of the problem. There we go. Oh, it looks so much better. You guys can't see it. We're there. I need to sort this out. I need to double check with Vulkan enabled. Oh, that plays so much better as well. I hate sorting out animations in this. Save all, and then I need to remember to go into here and change the animation play rate from 0.5 to 1 because it's playing really slow, which would be super cool. And then if I test it again, there we go. Right, wicked. And then, so you guys can see, Meta Developer Hub. If I stream from the headset, pass. Hopefully you guys can see the menu through this. There we go. Look at that. Look how sharp it looks. Need to fix that double animation. Switching. Dominant. So the reason it looks really yellow is because of the lighting in the level. That's the only problem in this one. And I need to figure out why that one doesn't do it on the first time. Only the second play. And then we go into the load screen, which I don't know if you guys can see. And then we fade. It's going to be our little cutscene. Then we fade in the character sitting over there. Part of it. And then if I open it up, we can see that we've got our really cool, really sharp menu. Still working, which can go through. We can open up our doors. Oh, my hand's gone. Where's my hand? Ooh, it didn't attach back properly. Oh, there we go. That's weird. Cool. I need to fix that bug with the doors where you can't seem to open them twice. Not a lot, but it's something. This is one of the best features in it. Why does it play twice? Stereo layer, that's fine. I'm not working on it at the minute. Plugins, display screen, I can remove you, main menu master. I'm not working on you right now. Oh yeah, the main menu master is what we're in. The widget switcher. Title card is the one that has green, but it plays twice. And this is what I'm not too sure about. Grant, you're alive. I was getting worried. How have you been? I've been alright. Been alright. Yeah, it's been a while. We need to have a proper chat. I hope Nancy and everybody else is doing fine. Um, But yeah, I've been all right. Had some health stuff going on, and then just been crazy busy with work. So it's been one thing after another. But hopefully, you guys are all doing all right. I can delete. Go. I don't know why it's playing twice, and that's the confusing part. Because we don't have. We've only got one play animation. Play show animation. Am I calling that twice from somewhere? Finishes, and then it does it again. We do. We've been okay. Cool. Nothing much to report other than I've started battling the YouTube algorithm again. Oh man, I got so done with it. I got so burnt out with it the last couple of weeks. Trying to keep up with everything. Why on earth is this playing twice? What? What is the return button doing it? That's the wrong one. Title menu. Pressed start game. Call start game. We do call start game because it goes into here, the main menu master, which listens to it. I think. Call start game. This is the problem is I've been coding this on a night time, so I've been tired when I've been doing it, and now I don't know what I've done. Close hand menu, close U2 because we don't need to worry about U. Main menu, widget preview there. Main menu master. Main menu is the widget blueprint. Right, we don't need to worry about you because you are working. What I'll do is I'll make sure that you guys can see this. So I will put rendering back on. That way we don't have to cast to the headset the whole time. Button pressed, start game. Which is fine. Because that's coming from the preset button. Start game. Start game. Is it firing twice because I've got two buttons on top of each other? I wonder if that's what's happening. I do. Where's the play animation? I'm losing my mind. Why am I getting so confused with this? String. Why aren't we seeing output log? Cool. I missed you starting this game. What's the plan? Looks interesting. Um, Sci-fi. I think that's probably the plan at the minute. Right. So that only fired once. So that's the thing. But I've always wanted to build my own game. So I've been spending the last 3 years building the GDXR template to get here. And now I'm here. I'm like trying to get it sorted, which is really cool. That fires twice. It takes 2 clicks. Return. It finishes the animation and plays again. What? See, if I go back, nothing happens. So it's something to do with play, like show animations happening twice. Hmm. Start new game, it fires. Why does start new game fire that animation? Start game. Firing twice for some reason. Play show animation was firing twice. Robert, how are you doing? Going to do the cutscenes in VR? Do you force the headset to look in a direction or insight on how you plan to approach it? Right now, the idea is to keep it relatively still, so like you're a spectator. So if I'm going to do a cutscene, I'd probably do it so you're in another person, like you've taken over another person, you're watching from their point of view. So if I go through, so we can actually test this. Probably less. So you can see it. So it's doubling up because we can see the render, the stereo layer underneath it, or at least I can. So start new game, and then we go create character. Then this level unloads, and then we load the first level. So now this is the cutscene. So you can see I don't have any controllers. So this is the same character spawned in, but it's told not to load the hands, and then it's disabled the movement. So we fade, static, and then there's going to be a character sat at the computer, the piano, and then we fade into it where we then tell it to load our hands, and then we can start playing the game. So that fade bit at the beginning is probably going to be a lot longer, but the idea is to use the player as a spectator, so they're in a location. Um, if I want to do a cutscene where they move around, I probably do it in the room they're in and treat it like a hologram. So it's like the hologram spawns in, and then they can move around it and do it that way. But the idea is that you can't really tell someone where to look in VR, but you can try and draw their focus to a specific thing. So it'll be going from there. I'm going to do a cutscene. Ryan, is the animation looping or are you getting multiple input triggers? Just a guess. I think I was getting multiple input triggers from the event that was here. I think that was all that was causing the issue. Because now I've removed those, it's actually working. So it fades in, starts game, and if I return, then it loads back. So what I need to do is basically say on start new game, play animation, which will be done through main menu master, title, Start new game. Title menu, get. And then in here, I could do custom event. Play hide animation. Play animation. Do something like that, and then it should fade in. Go through there. It might not be having enough time to play the animation before we switch it. So if I do that, and then delay is really bad. I should really have an event dispatcher handle all of this. But just for testing, we can try it now. I know that the animation is 0.25, I think. Well, let's have a look. Fade in, main menu title. Give it enough time to play the animation. Hide, 0.25 seconds. Yeah. So, UMG, I hate it. So we play the animation, we wait 2.5 seconds, and then we change new one. There we go. Cool. And then we can go into the character settings menu. I've got this one as the show. Show animation. I could, in reality, use the same animation and just tell it to play in reverse. But I think if I want more control over it, it's probably best to just have it as individual ones. Make sure I'm only doing the translation. And then new animation, show. So show animation, plays on start, and then hide animation. And I'm doing the border. So if I make sure I've got the border as well. Border, transform, translation. So this is the hide, so it's going to go over to the side. So what we can do is set this at 0.25. Move this over and delete these. Compile. What I might need to do is send a message to this to say that we're on screen. Start new game. I could then get our character setup screen. I can rename these all afterwards. I'm not worried about doing everything perfectly. I'm just trying to get it all in place. Called like a code and block out. I forgot what I called that now. It's on screen anim. So we switch to that viewport once this one's moved off screen, and then we say animation get play animation like so, and then the back button text button or one, which is you. What we want to do is we want to get you play animation delay 0.25. And then do it that way. That should do it for us. So we go into here. I don't know why I've got a bunch of errors. Nice. Amilcar, hello. It's good to see you, man. Hope everybody's doing good. I wasn't expecting so many people to join the stream, to be fair, especially with it being a Tuesday. I also wasn't sure what I was going to work on. Oh, cool. I need to change the color of my pointer. And it's not the actual color of that one. There we go. I've got the click anim working. That's all done. Make sure that's transparent. There we go. Main menu master. That should make it visible, but not hit test visible. Cool. Cool. Access not trying to probably set manual camera fade. I don't need manual camera fade. I've got a built-in camera fade. What I do need to do is make sure our widget on start game fades out first. Create character. This, I have to press this twice to make it work. That's going to be because I press it once, it saves the file, and then it attaches the bind. And then I press it again, that bind's ready, so it's then listening. So if I move this to here, we should add the binding. And then we call the save game stuff, which I have already sorted out because it's the GDXR template. Then with this done, we can hard load our hub level persistent, which is our main level. I could do with renaming my levels. So it's a bit of a throw together sort of situation. And then what we can do is, before we load the new level, we can play another animation to fade. So we've got that, and then do fade out. Should be able to just do border, render opacity. And because we're using a stereo render layer or stereo layer, it means that we can actually fade it out and it looks good, which it doesn't normally do. Cool. So we've got that. I need to set up the animation. So we start at 1 and then we fade to 0 over 0.25 seconds. And then with that done, we can then do fade out, get play animation. Play, how long did I keep that animation for? 0.25, same as everything else. I don't know if you can do sign on animation initialized, sign on valuation complete, and sign. Oh, I could do I do get sequence. Get sequence. I don't even know what that is. All right. Any other thing you could do a sequence. So you could get the sequence from it. If let's say this was a blueprint animation, you could get the sequence and then you can do an assign and you can get a reference to when it's actually finished playing. So it could go through and then do it that way. So if we test this now, fades in, start new game, we can actually return. These don't load in because it's done for the level. Create character. Access on trying to read property as VR game instance character setup. Does it need character setup? VR game instance. Right, it's these lot. Hopefully that should actually just work then. If I play it in game, it should work. Let's give it a shot. Cool. Those don't fade, so we need to pass that down. Oh, excellent. I don't store them as an array. Why are they not in there? We're adding them as a child. I feel like those boxes should fade out. So, is anybody else working on some fun stuff today? It'd be super cool to know. What I could do. Spotlight. Go on 0. Directional light. We can change it to 1. Change that to 1. Floor's hidden, so it doesn't really care. I think that should be it. And then if this spotlight is on 0, then I can change it to white. Let's just check the floor, see how bright this light is. And I will stable. I will build all levels and then we check chat. Is the animation living? Oh my god, hello. Oh, it's got quiet. Brian, I'm currently working on a VR scatter plot. What is a VR scatter plot? Large actor receives a pre-baked shadow. Oh, it's because of the sun. Why are you still orange? Vision. A shadow. We don't have a skylight because we're in space. Directional light. That should still be light channel 1. Which is fine. This should be light channel 1. Which is great. There we go. Now we've got lighting that affects only the surface of the planet, and then we've got lighting which only affects the player and the hands. So, could I do skylight and do the exact same thing? Light components. Oh, can you not do... That's new. I thought you could... Because how long it's been since I've done it. Either way, we should be able to now press play. We got the background lit as it was. Then we got our menu. And then my hand's super blown out. But we can then go through and then we can change that. Which looks so much better. Need to make these scroll boxes a little bit bigger. Which is cool. There we go. Need to fix that one. And then it remembers it based on which hand I've selected for hand color. So we can then go through our first little cutscene. I could do with adding a skip button to that. There we go. And then it remembers what hand color we've got. And everything else works great. You guys can't see the hand menu, but it's there, which is awesome. Making progress. Small progress, but progress nonetheless. Dan Pepper, it has begun. It has. I told you I was going to do it. I told you I was going to build my own game. Oh, I'll see how Athena's feeling later. We might be able to play Peak if you're around. Currently working on a VR scatter plot. Do you know what a scatter plot is in maths? Yep. What is that? I'm putting it in VR, allowing you to view the data in different ways. Okay, that's pretty cool. I did it. I did some sessions with a guy quite a while back, mathematician, and he used something similar to read data, but he created a VR, basically a VR pie chart. So you stood in the middle of the room, and there was reactive blueprints that would change the height and scale based on how much data points was put into it, which was quite cool. Directional light, that's fine. That's lighting the planet. Yeah. And then the spotlight is just absolutely ridiculously huge. It's a shame I can't do the skylight. I don't know why I can't do a skylight with a different channel. There's going to be the sci-fi furry game we're talking about. Could be. Put some mods in there. DLC. Imagine that. Friggin' furries running at you and you got to shotgun them. Probably just... People will be happy with that. If Five Nights at Freddy's can make horror versions of furries, pretty sure we can. Guardian threshold 100. Light color. Be fine. That needs to be cast shadows, but it is movable. Let's change that to static. That should improve performance. Build all levels. Check this out. See, my problem is concept art. I hate it. Like, I'm not very good at it. Never have been. No importance volume is found in the scene, so as large automatic distance size volume will not be able to resolve. Please have a tightly bound light mass importance volume. Okay. Fine. Ideally, this would be set to an unlit material, and then I'll color it in something like substance to build it out anyway. So that should be fine. Build all levels, that should sort it, which make it a little bit better. Yay, no error. Right. What do you guys think of me little bloom halo that I get? Me fake bloom. Problem is, it's a massive material. This is the worst part about using 5.6 is they've changed it around so much. Like, that's not good. The unlit emissive color, why is it so bad? Because I'm doing this. Nope. Is the planet a gas giant like Jupiter? No, I was thinking more like Mars. Or something similar. But the idea is to kind of have the atmosphere like glow on it. But because it's mobile VR, it's really hard to do bloom. It doesn't really support it out of the box using the nice rendering features. So you kind of got to get creative with it. So Like this is the sort of thing I want to go for. Or to be fair, um, is that isolation? Imagine something like that. I don't want to do alien. I don't want to like one to one rip it off, but something kind of like that. That was the idea anyway. Like I want to redesign the menu to be so much nicer than what I've got, but it's just hard work. Bloom. So the sphere is just a normal planet, but the bloom is a basically a texture that looks like this. So that's all it looks like, and then it's clipping the planet. So when you clip it together, it looks like it has kind of that bloom effect that is coming off it. And then because we're on mobile, make it a little bit smaller because you wouldn't see it on the back. Because we're on mobile, we need to use the Vulkan preview, and then that's what it comes out as. So it comes out looking pretty shit. So the idea is to then update this later on. But I just wanted to get it something in place to kind of feel, get an idea of how it would feel and look a little bit. Yeah. Bigger and then center hidden more looks really good. So like move the whole planet to the center, or I think because what I've got to be careful about is readability on the menu. Because like if we start it, do something like that. But when you're in the headset, it looks a little shit. If it's off to the side, it looks all right. But when it's right in front of you, it feels like the planet's really close, but really small. So it's just kind of a case of trying to get it to look just better in general. The texture. Yeah, I can scale it up. I also think I need to do like a harder edge. Oh, did you? I saw this on Reddit the other day. Have you guys seen that they've added a gradient ramp? Is it? What's it called? Gradient? No. Oh, I saw that somebody found a gradient ramp inside of UE5. Um, color? It might be the color ramp. Color gradient, maybe? I don't know if this was the one that they were looking at. But I saw somebody mention it. So it would be like density? I don't know what would be the best option to use this with. Color, actually. So you could have something like that and then another color. Let's see if that works. Why is it not doing it? Fully expected to be able to just switch it around. Oh. Oh, I'm not sure. But either way, there's like a color ramp in there, which is kind of cool. I don't need it for now. I'm just getting distracted. Opacity. Have a look. I was hoping that was going to make it a lot sharper, but it might be. Why am I previewing it? Stop previewing it. There we go. B value, set that to a default of 1. Apply. B value. Where is it? Oh, I was in it. Yeah, it's be able to bring that up, bring down the density, and now I can kind of control the fall off. Bring it up. Kind of get a better effect. A little bit more procedural. That looks a bit better. That's the wrong one. Check out the game observation. Had some really up close shots of planets that gave a great sense of scale. I'll check it out. The one that I'm leaning towards is, oh god, it's a long shot. There used to be a PlayStation background on the PlayStation Home, which had like the planet Earth. Um, it's one of these. It's like it was this one. So this is what I'm going to go for in the long run. Is something similar to this, but it won't be Earth. The idea is the planet's going to be on like a rocky planet, like desert kind of sort of thing. Yeah. Sebastian, why not do it with vertex, normal world space, sky atmosphere, light direction, some dot product? Because that only works with deferred rendering. specifically Sky Atmosphere, which we're not using. Same as Fresnel. So this is going to be on mobile. So the idea is to make it work and performant enough to work on mobile VR. Whereas anything that requires Sky Atmosphere, just it's not going to work. I really want to make sure that this is set to render a main pass, but the problem is you guys can't see it when I do that. So even if I press play, you guys can't see it, even though I can. I said, even though I can. There we go. So I can see the menu, and I can interact with it exactly like we want it to. But it's so much more difficult for you guys to see. And that's because we're not rendering it in the main pass, so we can actually see it in the stereo layer. Don't need to use it as an includer. So if I do it again, I'll cast to the headset. Actually, guys, looks like to give it its scale, you need to have something in the foreground that'll help it bring it down inside a space station. Bit of a shit. Yeah, I'll be putting something else in there. I'm just not too sure what yet. Like it is, the intro is kind of inspired by Alien. So you can see there, it's like we've got the start screen, and now we've got our stuff, so we can actually choose whether I'm left or right-handed. The widget interaction is still running on this one. That's yes, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, so I need to fix that. But I can change it. I can also change out my hands. It's subtle, but you can see it. And then the idea is I can change sort of like skin tone based on each hand. I can also return. And then it even remembers which one I used, which is really nice. I need to fix that bit. But yeah, the idea is like that whole classic Alien introduction. So to do something similar to this, so I don't have to have a whole bunch of backstory in the game. I can just display some stuff to the user, and then we see it, and then it fades out or cuts to the next shot. So this could happen in the main menu, so it's all dynamic. So when you press play, the menu fades, and instead of opening the level, this stuff happens, and then it fades to black, and then you're inside the ship. So do this, so you're going over, and then it's not going to look all grungy and that. The idea is the ship's going to be lived on. And I won't move the camera as well. I'm just going to have it static. So it kind of fades in, and then you can see different parts of the ship like coming alive. So a combination between this and this scene from Stargate Universe, which is a fucking amazing show, no matter what anybody says. Stargate. Yeah. Is it the opening scene? This is more accurate to what I want, rather than the alien one. So it starts similar, and then we see the ship. Like, audio and ambience is going to be so important for this. Yeah. Like, I really want to get somebody to do it for me. Like, I'll take a shot at it. But I want to do it properly and get somebody to do it for me. I'll turn desktop audio on. So when you're outside the ship, it's going to have, like, subtitles and then intro like this. And then you start, and then it fades inside. And instead of having them move around, it's kind of like static cameras. Oh, I love this show so much. But instead of having to suit like a massive ship, because it's not where it's going to be based on, it's going to be more of like a smallish one, like an inhabitable one, like you live on it. Like this is your little cargo ship that you live on, and then later on in the story you end up going down to a planet, like an ODST drop pod situation. So you got to get into the ship, and then it fires you at the planet, which I think will be really cool. But I want the inside of this when it kicks in, because we go inside, and then it slowly starts waking up. But instead of having it where somebody's in a pod, like the main character, the idea is that they're already awake. Like they're awake before the ship is. So it's like, what's kind of going on? Like this, where you start seeing the lights come on, which I think would be really cool. And shit, Atlantis is OP as massive. Love that alien OP. Yeah. The long shot of the slow moving ship, they give it a heavy, like, big presence. Actually, when somebody's right. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Favorite opening for like any Stargate show. Like the whole design. This was kind of the inspiration that I wanted to go from first. Like if I could make a Stargate game, I'd be doing that instead. But I'm not dealing with IP rights and all that sort of stuff. But can you imagine a Stargate game in VR? Like you're on Destiny or something, and your goal is to go to a planet, and then you've got to like do it within 38-minute window. So good though. But like that's pretty much like the opening of what I want for mine. And instead of going in full guns blazing, it's like this person's lived on this ship for a long time, and then they're being asked to go down to the planet, so you got to go there, which I think would be really cool. But yeah, hands down, if I could make a Stargate game, I'd be doing that instead. We don't talk about Stargate time splitters. That's one thing we don't discuss. Because you can imagine, like, you start here, and then you press continue, you set up your little character, and that screen basically fades out. and then as you do, then it shoots into frame. Like the planet itself in this shot might not even be related. This could be Earth, and then the ship's in space, and like you're around it, but you've got to go somewhere else to then get started. I think it'd be really cool to do. I need to figure out why the main menu won't hide those little bits. And I'm also going to make it big again. Legit. Trying so hard not to talk about Stargate. You figure out why these, even though they're added to the child, aren't displayed in tone box. This is a long shot. Oh, it works. Look at that. Right. Okay. I think what I've done there. Changes. Mission break. What you building? I'm building my own VR game. Feel like it's all. I feel like it's all I've repeated today. A VR sci-fi game, which will be cool. What's the licensing around music like for really old songs? This is what I'm thinking of having. It's like back on a G string. So when you press play, let me find you guys. So like imagine this is the main menu. It fades in, or at least it fades in when you press start new game, and then the character creator. So this is playing while you're in the cutscene. The cutscene could take a couple of like a minute or two, and then you fade into the thing, and then it fades out because you've stopped playing, and then you can get up and start walking around. That's kind of the idea for the intro. Which I think could be fun. Probably get copyright strikes for that now. Yeah, I think I've got an idea for it at least. Could be cool. I need to get the cursor to be hidden. Main menu master. That. Use brush transparency. I think that's the one that I need. And then if I do that, I need to set it to visible brush transparency. What? It's visible. That needs to be hidden. Hmm. No. That brush should do it, but it's going to modify the whole thing. Don't know why it's not hiding. I'm looking at this as though I'm trying to like design it properly, but it should be fine actually. Still there. Fade in. Would it not fade out? Oh, it's not doing any different. Um, don't know why it's got the white outline. Use brush transparency as using this one. So if I was using an image, it would be fine. It would pretty much work. Um, doing it. Character setup, I could pull from this. And then in character setup, I could listen for the create character button. Create character. And then I could do game begin. Dispatcher, game begin, call. I'll save, and then what I could do, so that will call first, which means inside of the main menu master to assign game begin, and then I can set the image set visibility to hidden. So as soon as we press the button, it should hide the cursor for us. Doesn't do it. Doesn't do it. Do what you're told. Like that, I've just told it not to do anything. Then construct, listen, character setup, and begin play, image hidden. Is it hidden if we go off screen? Yeah. So it hides itself when it goes off screen. But it's not hidden when that button's pressed. Oh my god. Phone is continuously going off. Which means this is overriding this. Interact is true by default. And then we set it to hidden. Do you think we need to do that? Cool. Let's see it on the left. There we go. Cool. What was the red text? Oh, it's just a widget line trace. Cool. And we fade in. I need a way to skip the tutorial or this cutscene. It's gonna be a pain. Cool. I might do this bit and see if I can actually get it to install to the headset. Oh, you're just showing up in that window. Cool. How's everybody doing? Gonna have some time to kill while this kind of does its thing. This is the point in the stream where it starts to get quiet because I'm focusing on everything. Computer's not happy as well. What I need to do is figure out whether I want to support localization early on, which I think would be a good thing to do. Although I don't speak any other languages, so translations would be extremely difficult. What I could do is I could set something up now so it's implemented, and then if I don't need it, I could just remove it. Try and plan ahead. Sky occlusion 1024 by 512 requires estimated 24 megabytes of memory. Why are those light maps so large? Need to have a look. What I'm going to need to do as well is set up another level. So it's like a graphics test level. So I can work on building some nice shaders and materials that will work on mobile. See how far I can push it. Cool. Streams per bit rate. Still shouting at me for that. See, this is what I want to do. Is like I really like the alien isolation menu stuff. Super subtle, super minimalist main menu. That bit always annoyed me. You can't read Ultra unless you already know it's there. I need to get some good UI stuff done. Oh, build complete. Excellent. screen's just black, so I don't know whether it's installing it or if it's going to just say failed. Man, I don't know if anybody's in here has played Death Stranding 2, but I cannot stop listening to the album. So good. Got a feeling it's going to say error in a minute, so just press the power button. Wait there. Does anybody else's headset seem to just kind of hang for a little bit on a black screen? Gotta fully restart the headset now. Tired. That one's pretty unwell at the minute, so she had a bit of a mental night last night. Right. Cool. So do that, and then try and install that again. We go from there. I'm really hopeful that the menus show up, especially since they've been changed over to stereo render layers. It's one of the biggest things you can do to make UMG look better. So if I can keep the UMG looking sharp, it should make everything else feel nicer in general, which will be really good. Sources. Seems to be really slow. There we go. Just go look up. Why is it on? There we go. It looks really nice. As in, like, really sharp UI. I don't know if you guys can see it very well on that. Well, this is running off the headset. Ooh, it didn't load main level. Might be because I haven't put the files in there to be added in. What was the issue? Was it just an issue? My brain, man, it's like a sieve. Oh, it remembered that I was using the right controller. That's great. Start new game. I need to fix the orientation. Not going forward. Start new game. Read, fades out. And then just reloads that level. Cool. There we go. It's only got main menu. Menu. Assistant. Lighting. Be it for those two. Should be fine. Let's try again. See, this is the boring part where it's just like build after build, just to make sure it's all set up correctly. If anybody's watching this and they're wondering, the template that I'm using for it is the GDXR template, which is available on the Fab Marketplace. So if you want to kind of use that to build your own games, you're able to do that as well. It is a shameless plug, though. Hopefully this shouldn't take too long. If it crashes again and it doesn't load up the main level, it's possible it's something to do with those light maps that it was saying that were really large. So I might have to take a look at that level and see if there's anything that stands out regarding the texture sizes for the light builds, which will be worth checking anyway. But we'll see. I'll make sure that this intro video is also loading. Right, guys, we've probably got about 20 minutes, half hour left of the stream. And I'm going to go cook dinner for the little one and my wife, which should be pretty good. It's taking so long to install. I've got a feeling if I put the headset on, there's a notification. Seems to be a hand tracking notification that gets in the way. Let's see. Or just a black screen. Don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a headset issue. Because now I've got to restart the headset. There we go, let it restart. What I could do with is setting up the Oculus developer account so I can then push it through here, which would be a good one. But I'll do that stuff off stream. Because I've got a feeling I have to log in with everything. Log into everything. Oh, my eye. Right there, I'm going to turn off hand tracking. Hey, Sam, you're online. I always wonder whether you're actually online or if it's just because you're on the PC or you got your phone on. I'm not actually sure. Right, there we go. Can't see anything. Interesting. Possible because I've got a space in there. Try again. I can't tell if chat's really quiet or if I'm not getting any messages. Ben, any idea how to get MetaXR for UE 5.6? No, you gotta wait. You could try compiling it yourself for 5.6, but in reality, the best option is to wait. You should really be using 5.5, which is the latest build, and that's the most stable one. Because it's pretty much down to meta on updating the plugins, and normally it takes around 3 to 4 months to get a new version update out, and that's only once they've made a stable version of Unreal. So since 5.6 is out in the first build, then it's probably about 3 months till we get the MetaXR plugin for 5.6, if not longer. Which I imagine would be longer if they're adding the camera pass through stuff, which they've got to do as well. So really, 5.5 would be the best option for that. Um, but as it is, I can't say for sure. I'm trying to compile 5.6 now via the engine source, but I've been building the engine for the last day or so. But thought I'd give it a shot instead of waiting for them. Yeah, honestly, I'd just stick with 5.5. I don't know if there's any reason to go to 5.6 specifically for meta stuff. Because if you're working for meta stuff and meta plugins, you're gonna want the more stable version anyway, which is 5.5. So doing anything trying to go to 5.6 is basically a waste of time at this point. I also don't think there's any content in Unreal Engine 5.6 that would require you to go forward. Like the reason I'm using 5.6 is because I'm not using any Meta XR features. I'm just using OpenXR to run everything. So I don't have to worry about using the Meta plugin. I can add that at a later date. I just wanted the new Metahuman stuff, but yeah, slightly 5.5. On if you're doing Metahuman stuff, you shouldn't be doing standalone VR anyway. So using Meta shouldn't really be worth using. Like Metahuman's way too heavy for mobile VR. Like you've got to use the lowest LODs possible, lowest texture resolution, and only have one on screen because the headsets can't handle it. So looking at MetaHuman with MetaXR doesn't really go well together. So if you're going to do MetaHuman stuff, it should just be on desktop anyway. Which then again, OpenXR you shouldn't really need it. Why is it not working? Okay, and you're able to compile to Android and launch on Oculus using the OpenXR stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm doing here. So just the only thing I've got set up in edit project settings. Where am I going? Plugins. So I don't have any of the Meta XR stuff done. So none of that's set up for 5.6. I'm literally just using the OpenXR content, and then that's running everything. So I just built for Android, and it goes straight onto the headset. Well, Android launch and just using the OpenXR stuff as is. Yeah, it's what it's designed for. You don't need Meta. You don't need the Meta plugins. Just OpenXR, and you can build for whatever platform you want. The MetaXR plugin is specifically required for meta-specific features, so such as MetaXR hand tracking or Meta Interaction Toolkit, or the fixed foveate rendering that's specific to Meta, like scene tracking and pass through, that sort of thing, is where you would use the Meta plugin. Metahuman LD4 has been okay for me, but yeah, certainly a concern. Yeah, it can work, but it's going to heavily depend on what's going on in the headset and what's running. Like having just a single metahuman, that's fine, but anything else, you're going to start having big problems because they're so heavy. I don't know why this isn't working. I'm having issues all of a sudden connecting to Link. Do you have to change many project settings? I was going to export my 5.5 project settings, but now I'm not sure I could just do that. I'm not too sure what you mean by export your settings. Like, I was going to export my 5.5 project settings. I'm not really sure what you mean by change settings. It's just UE 5.5. Don't know if that's stopping me from connecting. Yeah, casting wouldn't let me connect. Okay. No. I put it in the wrong folder. It's not the. Is it the movies folder? Worked with so many video projects lately. I should know this. Um. Then in the Unreal Editor project settings, you can export them as a file and then import them into another project. Yes, but I'm not too sure where you plan on exporting your 5.5 settings to. I normally just do it manually because one project might be different to another, and engine versions if you're doing that route. So if you do it manually, you're in more control of it. Into 5.6. I'm so confused. Why would you need your 5.5 settings in 5.6? 5.6 is the newer version. It's going to have different settings overall. Like if you open 5.6 with the VR template, it should already be set up for what you need, and then anything after that is stuff you've already modified or stuff you're going to modify. Like from what you said in chat, I'm not too sure why you need to change your project settings at all. Like, are you trying to do something specific that you need to change your modify your project settings? Just to save time from manual having to go through them, the MetaXR plugin has the convenience tools that set all of those for you. I think there's a bit of confusion. So the default VR template that comes from Unreal Engine has the Oculus. I'm getting myself confused. Has the OpenXR plugins already enabled for you. In there, the project settings in rendering are already set up for you to use forward rendering and all the other features that you need to improve performance when it comes to mobile VR and VR in general. Anything else can be found in the bottom left here, which is basically OpenXR settings, and you just have a couple. That's literally it. There's nothing else to even look at. So if you open a default VR template, it should be ready to go for you out the box to work with basically any VR project you want. After that, it's then up to you to modify those settings in rendering, which is typically the place that people modify their settings to enable features that they want or remove stuff. So it's just a case of create a VR template and then you're kind of already set up to go. But they're set up for you in any engine version that you use. Okay, that sounds good enough. I'll try the VR template settings to start. Kind of it's on me for assuming. I thought you would have already been in the VR template. I'm not too sure what version you're using that wouldn't be. Just jump, because if you download Unreal and you jump into like 5.5, 5.4, and you use like the first person template or the blank template, you're kind of just shooting yourself in the foot. You're making things so much more difficult than they need to be. Whereas if you just start with the VR template, it's pretty much already good to go and set up and sorted. If you want things to look really nice, you can just turn off forward shading. I used to start with a blank C++ project and now the VR template is future. Right, that's the problem. Right, that's where it becomes way more difficult. Because if you don't know what Unreal needs to run the VR stuff out of the box, then starting off with a blank C++ project, you're kind of just winging it. Like honestly, anybody starting VR development with Unreal, just check out the VR template. There's so much good stuff in there, and you can add C++ plus to it. You can just set it up. So if you need a C++ version of the VR template, you just add a new C++ class, and then it converts the whole thing for you. So then, alongside having all of the necessary plugins set up for you out the box, you have all the project settings in rendering set up with stereo layers and, well, nanites on by default. You've also got the OpenXR settings already done. Enhanced input system is already set up for you. So if you go up to here, enhanced input system, that's already going to be set up for you out the box. And then, yeah. Honestly, if I was doing a tutoring session, I'd be like, just start with the VR template. I need the C++ for our project, but if you start with the VR template, it has it in blueprint mode, and then it's a bit of a pain to switch into C++. What? It's so much easier. You can convert any blueprint into C++. That's the easy part. If you're going from C++ to VR, you have to redo everything yourself. You've got to start from scratch. Where if you start the VR template, you can just literally go to Tools, New C++ class, add that in, and then recompile from your IDE, the project, and then it's automatically converted to C++. Feel like you're on hard mode. Especially jumping into the MetaXR soft Oculus build without knowing that the OpenXR stuff is needed. I'm not sure the goal of the project, which it might make sense to start with that. But in like 99% of the cases of projects I've ever done, starting with the blueprint version of Unreal template, the VR is just the way to go. Otherwise, you're basically repeating every step that's in here to make it work. There's also nothing wrong with using blueprints. I don't know if that's like a personal preference to needing the C++, but yeah. You just had issues starting with blueprint and adding the C++ class. So I do it the other way around and add the VR template as a feature. But I hear what you're saying, I can try that. Maybe a bit of an issue with past versions, making it a bit harder to go through that add C++ class trick. It's, I don't know, it's the same. I find I find it so much easier to just start with a VR template. Otherwise, as it is, you're going to download the main build. You're going to start a C++ version of it. You're then adding in the VR template pack, which has all the blueprint code and player spawn set up. You're not really changing anything. You're still going to use the game mode and the game instance in the main level with the blueprint player. You're just not going to have any of the project settings associated with the VR template or the OpenXR plugins installed by default. I don't know. I'm getting distracted. Need to figure out why my media is not playing when I build it to the headset. Project settings, packaging, splash screen. I've got the splash screen loading in. Specific movies to package. Let's see if I just do this. Let's just untick that. And then in here, what I'm going to do a print string. Video started. Video access. Video complete. Should be fine. Got that. Plain material intro compile material unlit. Cool. Let's do Android. Let's just do a debug game. Let's try that. And then we'll build this back out. Yeah, that was my point. It hasn't mattered before the MetaXR plugin since you just hit the button and it sets all of the settings for you. But I'm going to try what you suggested starting with VR template first and adding C++ class. I'll get back to you. Cool. But yeah, if you want to use 5.6, the MetaXR plugin is not supported yet. But if you do it with the OpenXR, you can just build basically like 90% of your game and then add the MetaXR plugin at the end. Especially if you don't need to use any specific MetaXR features. But my plan is to build as much as I can without it, and then do a new branch in my GitHub repo, which just contains a build of the game with the meta plugin, and then I can build to whatever platform I want. I don't have to worry about it. Shipping. I don't want install shipping. I want install debug. See if this works. Saying it started. What's happening? Honestly, I hate dealing with video in Unreal. Did make sure I got my folder correct. Movies is fine then. Yeah, content, movies, install. Is it because the movies got the space in it? Content, ooh, that's the problem. Right, why? Oh, that's the problem. Oh, I put it in the GDXR folder. So it's content GDXR and then movies. It should be content and then movies. There we go. And then media player. I can double check that. It should fix it. Content movies. We'll do that, content movies, and then we'll try re-import the media. Unless I broke it. Oh, I might have crashed it. I want to get this sorted before I wrap it up. Wrap it up. I should have probably deleted the reference inside of the blueprint first. That's probably what the problem is. Come on. God, I messed it up now. No. I want to click. Instinct just makes me want to click around. But I know it's more likely to make a crash. There we go. Yes. Right. Cool. And then media, file media source. GDXR intro. Movies. Where is it? Import movies. Open. Why does it take so long to delete the media source? There we go. The selected media file will not get packaged because its path points to a file outside the project's content movies directory. It's still referencing GDXR movies, right? Okay, that's the problem. Right. Movies. Right click. Update redirectory references. Let's try that. Cool. GDXR movies. I want to be able to delete that folder. Like that. Do this. Content GDXR. Delete the movies folder from here. And then we've got the movies file here. And I need my intro. Do new tab. Copy. GDXR intro. And then what we can do is we can reload the project. That should fix the folder issue. That should also link it up to be inside the correct place. Let's take a look. Just want this to work and then I can wrap up. Movies, import. Yay. Right. Pre-cache, automatic, Android media. There we go. That should be fine. Take that. Media source should be just the one. Why won't it let me please see the video? There we go. And now, project settings, affix the references. Delete those. Exclude movies when staging. Specific movies to package. Delete. Intro. Where are you? There you are. There we go. That should be fine. think that should be all right. Project. Then the level should be set up correctly to then just play. Cool. We load this up and then we see what happens. Just want this to work. Please. Thought there'd be files in there. Ooh. There we go. Install. Right. Yeah. Cross the fingers. Still didn't load. Why would you not load? It's got to be something to do with this. Let's just try it without that. Didn't play. There we go. Let's try this one. If this one doesn't work, I might call it, mainly because I need to go to the bathroom and then cook dinner. Come on. There we go. No, I can't see the menu. Okay. Was that red? No. Cool. I don't know why it didn't show up in the headset if it's using the stereo layer. Stereo layers are supported. I need to take a look at it. Like it is, it works on the desktop. We can see that in the editor. It works really well. But yeah. Kevin, hello. Nice to see you online. Thank you. It's been a while. This first stream I've done in over a month, I think. So it's nice being back on. I'm hoping to do them a bit more regular as well. Fades out, fade in. There we go. Now we got the menu. And we can see both. So I need to make sure that we only have the one. I don't know whether we could just set it to hidden. There we go. That's what we see in the headset. Um, Annoying. So that doesn't work. It means none of the menus are going to work. Just fed through it. Knowing that it works on the PC and it doesn't work on the headset. Okay, I need to have a look. Tiny question: will there be soon any update regarding the template? There will. I'm working on some stuff at the minute. If that's referring to the GDXR template, then yeah. I'm basically building my own game at the minute using the GDXR template, and I'm using the bugs that I find in here to fix the ones in the main build. I also need to update it to 5.6 as well, which will be a good one. Creating VR template 5.6, now C++ class, and after some deleting of intermediate and save folds, etc., I was able to open it back up again and building for Android. Awesome. Cool. Right, guys, I am going to leave it there because I've got a feeling this is going to be a whole task in itself, which is just going to take forever. So I'm going to submit my changes, which is go from there. I think that's all I did for this one. And then we can go. Cool. So it seems to be working okay if it launches Project Standalone. Awesome. I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. You should be alright at it. Cool. All right, everyone. It's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for dropping by. And we're going to hope to do some more soon, and maybe work on this as well as a bunch of other stuff. So cool. All right. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.